I don't know how many of you know what white phosphorus is. I only recently began to read detailed studies. White phosphorus is usually used as what's called, the technical term is an obscurant. That just means when it makes contact with oxygen, it creates a smoke. So it's used to camouflage yourself from enemy troops. It obscures the view of the enemy. An obscurant. That's what it's usually used for. But it's also true that white phosphorus reaches a temperature of, if your imagination is capable of grasping it, 1,500 degrees Fahrenheit. And it burns the skin, and it burns right through to the bone. Israel dropped the white phosphorus over Al-Quds Hospital. It dropped the white phosphorus over the UN Beit Lahia school, which contained 1,600 Palestinians seeking shelter from the massacre. It dropped the white phosphorus over the UN warehouse containing food and medicine, huge quantities for the people of Gaza. Was it using the white phosphorus as an obscurant? Human Rights Watch, one of the two leading human rights organizations in the world today, alongside Amnesty International, just released a study on what happened in Gaza. And they said it's not possible that Israel used the white phosphorus as an obscurant. Why? Number one, an Israeli company manufactures smoke shells. They could have just used their own smoke shells as an obscurant. Number two, if you want to use it as an obscurant to obscure the view of enemy troops, you fire it on the ground. They were firing it in the air above civilian sites. Number three, there were no Israeli troops anywhere near the sites where they dropped the white phosphorus. They dropped it over Al-Quds Hospital. They dropped it over Beit Lahia school containing 1,600 Gazans seeking refuge from the massacre. They dropped it over the UNRWA warehouse, which also contained 700 Gazans seeking refuge. They dropped it for one simple reason: to use it as an incendiary weapon, to burn the flesh of those who were in those civilian sites. They had all the GPS coordinates of the hospital, of the school, of the warehouse. In fact, the UN officials in the warehouse kept calling the Israelis all morning, telling them to stop the attack, but Israel persisted. Israel sent in its jet planes, its helicopter gunships, its tanks, and its armored personnel carriers. It sprayed entire civilian neighborhoods with white phosphorus. It then proceeded to slaughter and incinerate this defenseless population. Who can now claim that Israel is weak?